Hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. So excited you're here because we are going over my holiday and winter pile of possibilities. We're calling it a pile of possibilities because there's no way I'm finishing all of them. There are a ton of books here. You know, I'm a mood reader, so I like to have options. And for someone that's not the biggest fan of Christmas, I sure do have a lot of Christmas books. I don't know how that happened. Somehow I have more of those than I did Halloween. Beats me. I don't know. Yeah, I love I can't say I don't love Christmas. I love the magic of Christmas, and I love the Christmas vibes. I just don't like the obligations that come along with Christmas. So I don't really hate Christmas, you know. Anyways, I am participating in Holiday Hell-a-thon, which is hosted by Kelsey over at Slime and Slashers. I will link her announcement video down below. It explains everything. I really love the way it's lined out. First of all, you don't have to read horror. You can read any genre, and you don't have to read it all because it's books, it's movies, it's activities. You could just watch movies the whole time or just partake in all the holiday activities, whatever you want to do. It's very inclusive. So I love that she's made it so easy for anybody to join in, and it should be a lot of fun. There are lists of prompts, and the prompts fall on different teams, and like by the end of it you could see what team you land on: Team Krampus, Santa, or Elf. And you could be methodical about it if you want to land on a certain team, but like you could read a book in your book or watch a movie or whatever, and that book or movie could end up having multiple prompts. You know what I mean? It could have multiple prompts associated with it, and most of them are going to have multiple prompts. So that's really fun. And then, you know, I personally am just going to read wherever my mood takes me, watch wherever my mood takes me, and then I'm just going to see where I land at the end of it. I'm not going to try to be on a certain team. So that's what I'm doing. And it's not like competitive. There are no points or anything. It's not a competitive thing. It's just for fun. Like I said, her announcement video will be linked down below. She explains it a lot better. She goes into more detail, and her video has links to the Discord and, you know, all the things that you need. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I will be vlogging a lot in December. I will be, you know, kind of doing the same format I did in Halloween, to where I kind of more do wrap-ups at the end of the week instead of doing a lot of vlogs as I go. That way my videos aren't too long. I thought that was a lot easier for me to do than I did, you know, with Old School April, where I like vlogged throughout the day. I thought it was better for me to do like wrap-ups at the end of each week to explain what I did all week and kind of do like little snippets. You know what I mean? I think that's what I'll do for Holiday Hell-a-thon as well. Let me know like what you think about that. Let me know if that worked, or if you want to see something different. Always open to suggestions from you guys, but I'll try to keep my videos kind of shorter. Short like I did for Halloween, you know, like the 20 minute or less. I kind of think that worked really well. And then I always have timestamps to where you could skip around if you need to, if you don't want to see the whole thing, or, you know, whatever. I know some people are pressed for time, but that's how I always do it, to where if you're just here for book reviews or you're just here for certain things, you could skip to those sections. Obviously it helps me out if you watch the whole video, but you know, if you are pressed for time and you just need to see certain parts of it, you know. Anyhow, oh, I am wearing my Christmas sweater. You can't see it very well from here, but it has ghost face. Hang on. It lights up, but it's very distracting. But it also has sound, which is even more distracting. But it says, he sees you when you're sleeping. You can't see the whole thing, but yeah. It's huge on me this year because I've lost a little bit of weight, 40 pounds since last year, but I'm wearing it anyways. I can't go out and buy another sweater. This is the only Christmas sweater I have, so you may be seeing it a lot. The books. I'm going to divide them into sections, and there will be timestamps below, so if you need to skip around. Most of them are horror and thriller, and that's what we'll go over first. And then we will have romance, rom-com, and fantasy. So, because I'm a mood reader, I like to kind of mix it up, especially for Christmas. Yes, I love holiday horror, but then I also do like the magical. I like the fluffy romance, you know, things as well. So I have a little bit of everything. Mostly horror. A huge chunk of this is horror. So that's how we'll do it. I'll mix it into sections. That way you'll get horror first and then we'll go into the other things. So let's get into it. And also, they're not all physical books because I'm not able to buy any this year, but we'll go into the physical books first. And then I have Kindle and Hoopla through my library. So we'll get into the physical horror first. Season's Creepings by Ronald Kelly. Freaking love this cover. This is a horror anthology. It's short. There's not much to it, but this is, I believe, 10 stories in here, 10 short stories. And should be a lot of fun. Literally Dead. Tales of Holiday Hauntings. This one looks kind of cozy, but it's supposed to be a creepy little short story collection. And this has multiple authors. So this is some V. Castro, Ramsey Campbell. Yeah, some authors that I've definitely heard of. So You Better Watch Out by Matt Forget. This is a Christmas horror comedy. This one follows Mary. She's the CEO of this tinsel company in this quiet town of Pennsylvania. Her world is completely flipped upside down when Bright Harmon comes to town. And Bright is a rising star in the competitive tinsel selling world. And they come to town to talk about a partnership with Mary. At the same time, there's a serial killer tormenting the town of Pennsylvania, and the serial killer is dressed as a reindeer. Yeah, that sounds freaking wild. Last year I read Candy Cane Kills by Brian McCauley. Loved it. All the kills were very original, and also they were all Christmas themed, which I really loved it. I was like obsessed with this book. It's one of those that I will definitely be reading over and over again. And also it had this family, so it was like the whole, you know, complicated family relationships and all of that. And you know, there was a lot more to it than just this holiday slasher. So this year I'm going to be reading Candy Cane Kills again. Been really looking forward to this. This is the only one I actually bought because I couldn't wait. I had to have this one. I knew I had to have it. Love a good slasher. Las Posadas by V. Castro. I love this cover. And this is a novelette, so this is very tiny. This follows Nola, and Nola is a telenovela writer. How fun is that? And she has put her career as top priority. She's put love on hold forever, but she is crushing on the new mortician that has moved to town, Henry. Henry has taken over the town funeral home after the owners tragically died in a house fire. And yeah, on her night to host puzzle night, she and Henry end up fighting for her lives because there is an unexpected guest in her house. Very mysterious. Looking forward to this. I don't know if it has the gothic vibes that this cover shows, but I really hope it does. Everything is Temporary by John Kahn. How well do we really know the people sleeping next to us in bed at night? After a tragedy strikes the Barnes family, Sarah's husband Tom begins acting strangely. It starts with wild mood shifts and accusations at their 13-year-old daughter, but quickly escalates to the attempted murder of an off-season mall Santa. From what Sarah can tell, Tom's only motive seems to lie behind a mysterious hatred for Christmas that burns year-round. What's worse, Tom's only defense lies in a long-forgotten book he wrote detailing a traumatic event in his childhood that seems too far-fetched to be believed. His entire case revolves around the notion of talking Christmas trees, a living army of toys, and worst of all, a monster masquerading as Mrs. Claus. Now Sarah must go on a journey into her husband's past to learn if Tom is in the midst of a psychotic breakdown, if he's a danger to his family, or if he really is being hunted by the malevolent holiday horror that destroyed his childhood. Snow Shark by Brian G. Barry. This is about a shark that is terrorizing everyone on this ski slope at this resort, And somehow this shark is able to live on land. I don't know how, but hopefully it explains it. Here Comes Santa Claus by Edward Lee. Look at this freaking cover, it's so fun. Flying off course during a horrific storm, Santa and his reindeers find themselves within a grim situation. The stockings are all hung and overflowing with chaos and despair. The back is fun too. Afraid of the Christmas Lights. This is an anthology of crime stories. So it's like a more like thriller probably than horror, but I picked this up at a thrift store a while back. You probably remember it in a book haul I did. And now we'll go over the ones that are Kindle and Hoopla from my library. And I'll put the pictures of them here so that you can see them. First one is Father Christmas versus the Abominable Snowman by Harrison Phillips. Joe is a mall Santa and he's taking on a Yeti. This one is said to have lots of gore. Christmas in the Empty Cabin by E. Reyes. This one is a short story collection featuring Thanksgiving, Christmas, and other holiday horror. The Christmas Morning Massacre by Nasser Rabadi. This is a 1980s slasher. College girls are snowed in at a mansion while a killer is stalking them. That's the gist of it. Of course, there's more to it, but that's the short version. Then we have Hail Santa by John McNee. The town of St. Nicholas was failing economically, so this big company came in, bought the town, and they plan on turning it into a ski resort. But what they didn't realize was that it was never the people's town to sell in the first place, and there is something else there who has laid claim on the land. Something cruel, something hungry. And the children call him Santa Claus. 25 Days by Per Jacobson. This one is really an interesting concept because it's meant to be read starting 25 days before Christmas. And you're supposed to read a chapter per day leading up to Christmas, which is really neat. A family takes a vacation at this remote cabin, and something or someone is leaving these creepy gifts for them in a stocking that's hung on the door of the barn. And every day the gifts get more and more terrifying. Merry Fucking Christmas and Other Yuletide Shit by Kevin J. Kennedy. This is an anthology including extreme comedy, gross, and bizarro horror. Sounds like a lot of fun. We Bleed Red and Green by Jeff C. Carter. This is 12 Chilling Holiday Tales. Now this one looks really cute, but also really terrifying. And it is Christmas Night of the Scary Furry by E. Reyes. So this one is a horror novelette, so it's not very long. And this is about Amber. Amber is working in a department store. It's Christmas Eve, and these toys called the Scary Furry come to life, and they become this horde of vicious monsters, leaving gore and destruction in their wake. So Amber and her co-workers have to take matters into their own hands. And they have to find weapons, and they start using weapons like baseball bats and candy canes. And I believe it's kind of comedy horror, but there's also gore too. It Sees You When You're Sleeping by Gemma Amore. This one is a creature feature. Peter is enjoying Christmas with his niece when he hears a scream next door. He goes over there to check on things, and he finds his teenage neighbor kind of hunkered down in the hallway, and she's covered in blood. Well, apparently her entire family has been brutally killed, and whatever did it had come down the chimney, and it's not done. So yeah, he's having to protect himself, his niece, this teenage neighbor, and yeah, against this creature. That sounds terrifying. Christmas Eve on Haunted Hill by Brian Smith. 10 years ago on Christmas Eve, Silas Hersinger murdered 15 members of his family. There was one survivor, his brother Luke. Now, after a decade away, Luke is back home to face his past and battle the evil that still resides in the old family home. Horror Stories to Ruin Christmas by best-selling no-sleep authors. Lots of anthologies, just like Halloween. Usually holiday horror is lots of anthologies. But with Christmas, there tends to be a lot of standalones too, where Halloween it's hard to find those. Christmas Eve Carnage by John Lynch. This one is a slasher. The Fletcher family is really struggling. The mom had passed away, and the dad has just buried himself in work. He, instead of dealing with his grief, instead of helping his children deal with their grief, he's just buried himself in work. And his kids are forced to deal with their grief alone. So the kids are grieving their mom, and they have a dad who's absent because he is just working all the time. And also, it says Chad, an ex-con with a bone to pick, plots his revenge, and Sprinkle, the malevolent Christmas elf, rises. So, Sprinkles is an excellent elf name, especially an evil elf. it's kind of hard to take him seriously, but yeah, he does look pretty evil, doesn't he? Return of the Living Elves by Brian Asman. So these guys at a Christmas warehouse inadvertently unleash a seasonal genetic experiment onto the town. And now there are these elf zombie hybrids running amok throughout the town. And now they're just wreaking all kinds of havoc. Now, this one I'm really excited about because I've been wanting to read it for years. And that is Krampus by Brom. Finally. I'm sure you guys know the story, so I won't get into it, but all the folklore surrounding Krampus, and I'm stoked. I found Christmas Lights Slithering Up My Street by Ben Farthing. Something festive is growing in the sewer. After last year's tragedy, Douglas's parents are ignoring Christmas, but when Douglas finds an eerie strand of light slithering through the sewer, he unwittingly unleashes merry terror upon his neighborhood's tacky lights contest. String lights spread like invasive kudzu, turning festive decorations into surreal predatory nightmares. Determined not to lose both Christmas and his family forever, Douglas gathers his courage to confront the source of the holiday deep in the concrete pipes beneath the street. That sounds like a freaking blast. The Haunting Season, Ghostly Tales for Long Winter Nights. This looks really cozy, but this is spooky stories to read, like curled up by the fire, candles lit, you know, that kind of thing. But they're spooky stories. But maybe it might be cozy horror. I don't know. We'll see. A Christmas Murder Game by Alexandra Benedict. Okay, this one sounds really cool. It's a mystery, but it's more than a mystery. It says 12 clues, 12 keys, 12 days of Christmas, but how many will die before 12th night? The annual Christmas game is afoot at Endgame House, the Armitage's grand family home. This year's prize is to die for, deeds to the house itself. But Lily Armitage has no intention of returning. She hasn't been back to Endgame since her mother died, 21 years ago, and she has no intention of claiming the house that haunts her dreams. Until, that is, she receives a letter from her aunt promising that the game's riddles will give her the keys not only to Endgame, but to its darkest secrets, including the identity of her mother's murderer. Now Lily must compete with her estranged cousins for the 12 days of Christmas. The snow is thick, the phone lines are down, and no one is getting in or out. Lily will have to keep her wits about her because not everyone is playing fair, and there's no telling how many will die before the winner is declared, including additional scavenger hunts for the reader. This clever murder mystery is the perfect gift for fans of classic mysteries, festive Christmas books, and armchair detective work. That sounds so fun, doesn't it? I think that's one of my for sure I'm going to get to because it sounds like a lot of fun. Nosferatu by Joe Hill. This is one that I know everybody's read but me. I say everybody. A lot of people have read, and I've been seeing it going around. I've been wanting to read it. My library has it, so I'll get to read it, and I'm excited. This guy, Charles Manx, he preys on children. He drives around in his Rolls Royce, and his car can drive on hidden roads, and it takes them to this terrifying amusement playground that he calls Christmas Land. And Victoria, or Vic, had ran across him as a child, and she was the one that was able to get away. And it's years later now. She's all grown up. Manx never stopped thinking about her. You know, she's the one that got away from him. He'd never stopped thinking about her. Well, he's on the road again, and he's picked up a new passenger who is Vic's son. So, super creepy. And then, I didn't even know about this, but The Wrath by Joe Hill, which is, there's a comic book series that is the, like, I guess, prequel to Nosferatu. And it kind of, like, the first one I know is Charles Manx's, like, origin story. And but the Wrath, the comic book series, is Welcome to Christmas Land. So I guess it has, like, I know the first one is his origin story, but I'm guessing the rest of it is, like, I don't know, more about Christmas Land. All I know is the first one is his origin story. I don't know what the rest of it is, but it's like the prequel to Nosferatu. So I know that I can read them on Kindle Unlimited, like the comic book part of Kindle Unlimited or whatever. But anyways, I'm hoping to get to that too if I enjoy Nosferatu. That sounds really cool. And they have really high ratings on Goodreads. Apparently, they're really good. Snowball by Andre Gonzalez. This one involves an elf on the shelf. Some incidents that start to occur around the house, and some are fairly innocent and some more sinister, and things just escalate. So, sounds nice and creepy. Murder for Christmas by Joanne Carson. This one is described as Agatha Christie meets the House of Usher. Yeah, I was pretty much sold. That's all that it needed to say, and I was sold. Madison is a code breaker, and she gets this all expenses paid trip to this remote island, and it's the week before Christmas. So she goes. It says, trapped in a maze of secrets, scandals, and murder with a side of ghost, Maddie struggles to make sense of it all. You know, there are 12 strangers have been invited to this gathering. Will Maddie be able to solve the mystery before it's too late? Or is there a supernatural force that can't be conquered? Hark the Herald Angels Scream. That's a short story collection. There are multiple authors. Freaking love this cover. It's so fun. Now we'll get to my romance / rom-com. First one is Secrets in the Snow by Emma Hetherington. This one I thrifted a while back and I still haven't read it. Yeah, this one is like mystery also. It's like mystery / romance set in an Irish village, and it's a mom and son have to say goodbye to their neighbor Mabel. She's lived a nice long life. Her brooding nephew moves into her house, and Royson is the mom. But anyways, when the nephew moves into the house, it makes things more complicated for Royson. Well, this message arrives from Mabel, you know, the neighbor that's passed. This one final act of love, this message arrives from Mabel. This message changes everything. As winter turns to spring and the snow melts, the secrets that Royson and Aiden, the nephew, have been hiding must be revealed at last. Sounds cozy and cute. All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox. Sadie and Max, they were selected for this singing contest. They're paired up for duet week at the singing contest. And because of their chemistry on stage, the whole, like, everybody loses their minds over their chemistry on stage. Like the audience, the network, everybody just loses their minds. So the network basically says, you know, you guys need to pretend to be a couple off the stage. But the problem is these two can't stand each other in real life. So it's the fake dating, it's enemies to lovers, all that. So yeah, should be a lot of fun. Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayless. I really love these, like, simple, cute covers. Oh, there's just something about them that's just cozy. So this follows Eleanor Noel, or Nori for short. Nori, even though she's from a working class family, she was able to go to a prep school on scholarship. And, you know, her prep school friends grew up kind of differently than she, obviously very differently than she did. Well, you know, she always tried to keep those two worlds separate. Well, now 2 of her oldest friends have invited her to stay at this castle leading up to their wedding, and she has ran into an old fling. She falls quite literally into the hands of Isaac the gardener. And of course, you know, he's from a different world than these prep school kids, and he has all this contempt for the prep school kids. They're attracted to each other. Like, it's undeniable that they're attracted to each other. This is another, like, enemies to lovers situation. She's having a hard time denying her attraction to him, and she's getting closer and closer to him. There's this pressure on her 2 worlds coming together, basically. It says, Nori and Isaac explore their common ground, but pressures mount on all sides, and Nori must decide what kind of life she wants to live and what sort of love is worth the risk. So yeah. Kiss Her Once for Me by Allison Cochran. 1 year ago, recent Portland transplant Ellie Oliver had her dream job in animation in a Christmas Eve bookstore meet cute with a woman she fell in love with over the course of a single night. But after a betrayal the next morning and the loss of her job soon after, she finds herself adrift, alone, and desperate for money. Since finding work at a local coffee shop, she's just getting through the days until Andrew, the shop's landlord, proposes a shocking drunken plan. A marriage of convenience that will give him his recent inheritance and alleviate Ellie's financial woes and isolation. They decide to spend the holidays together at his family cabin to keep up the ruse. Though when Andrew introduces his new fiancée to his sister, Ellie is shocked to discover that his sister is Jack, the mysterious woman she fell for last Christmas Eve. Now, over one very festive week, Ellie must choose between the safety of a fake relationship and the risk of something real. Oh, that sounds so good. That sounds amazing. A Winter in New York by Josie Silver. This one, even if I don't read this in December, maybe January because it's wintry, this one follows Iris. She's moved to New York City to start her new life, and she's a chef. She comes across this gelato shop, and she meets this handsome man who tells her that the shop is in danger of closing. His uncle is the only one that knows the gelato recipe. He's recovering from a stroke. So Iris, she samples the last remaining batch of it, and she realizes that this recipe and her mother's recipe are the same, but she's not sure why his uncle would have given it to her mom, and she doesn't know how to tell them that. She offers her services to help recreate the flavor, and she finds herself falling for Gio, the nephew in the family. It says, when Gio's uncle finally recovers, all the secrets Iris has been keeping threaten to ruin the new life and new love she's been building all winter long. That sounds really cozy and cute. Now, I'll tell you guys the Kindle and Hoopla library editions. The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Roche. This one is described as red, white, and royal blue meets The Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, are you kidding me? That sounds like the best combination ever. Sexy, quirky rom-com where the golden-hearted Prince of Christmas falls for the totally off-limits Prince of Halloween. That's another one that is like top priority that I will for sure be reading this, like, for December. That's one like top of my list. It sounds so freaking good. Merry Little Hate Notes by Jennifer Peel. This is enemies to lovers. They've known each other since they were kids. They're forced to work together now. He brings back an old childhood game called Hate Notes. He does it to get her attention because she's trying to avoid him. Because I guess things aren't the way they seemed to her in childhood. Like, she thought one thing and it was really something different. I don't know. But anyways, this is his way of getting her attention with these hate notes. I feel like there's another way, but whatever. How My Neighbors Stole Christmas. This is a Grinch, like a Grinch retelling, but like a romance, which sounds really fun. This one's by Megan Quinn. I don't know if I said that. It's enemies to lovers romance. It says, living in a year-round Christmas town has its drawbacks. The caroling, the decorations, the insanely cheery spirit, it never disappears. It's why I like to hibernate away in my house, keeping a healthy distance from the holly jolly spirits, and all was going according to plan until my nemesis, Story Taylor, moved in next door to care for her Aunt Cindy. Without blinking, she turned my simple world into a real nightmare before Christmas, especially when she decided to enter the town Christmas Kringle contest, which she was determined to win. Well, guess what? Over my cold-hearted body. There was no way I was going to let her win, not after the history we'd shared. So despite my promise to myself of never participating in the sickening Christmas season, I entered the competition as well. That's right, I planned on beating Story at her own game by pretending this Grump's heart grew 3 sizes this season. And it was working until feelings between us started heating up. We pretended to date, we kissed, and well, sparks flew from there, which led to one explosive night involving Christmas lights, the competition, and a ladder. Don't let me convince you who stole Christmas. I think you need to find out for yourself. That sounds so freaking fun. I think that's going to be a priority too. That sounds really good. That's all the romance. Next, I will tell you guys fantasy, and I've only got 4. I don't know how this is possible. I don't know how I have so many. So if I were to say it on Christmas, y'all are going to be like, right. Yeah, right. A Winter's Promise. This is by Christelle DeBoss. This is translated from French by, who's the translator? By Hildegard Searle. I love this cover so much. This one follows Ophelia. Ophelia lives in this world where there are different arcs, and she lives on Anima, which is an arc where objects have souls, and she hides the ability to read souls of objects. She can read the souls of these objects. Not only that, but she has the power to travel through mirrors, which is really cool. And she is promised in marriage to Thorn, who is from the powerful dragon clan. So she's got to leave her family and follow Thorn to this other arc, which is far away from, you know, the arc that she's currently on. It's far away to this arc of Pole. So she's got to hide her, for some reason, she's got to hide her identity. She's got to hide her abilities. It says, though she doesn't know it yet, she has become a pawn in a deadly plot. So this is like magical, and it's got this, the world building in this is supposed to be really good. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's YA. So, Walking in a Witchy Wonderland by Juliet Cross. If you've ever read the Stay a Spell series, I love that series. It's so fun. Quirky characters, love all the characters. There's a lot of snark and just magic. It's witchy, lots of fun. But this is a short story collection. There are 5 stories, all in the Stay a Spell world. So, you know, those characters that you're used to, yeah, this is part of that world. The Kingdom of Sweets. This is a Nutcracker retelling. This gloriously transportative reimagining of the Nutcracker tells the tale of twin sisters divided by envy and magic and set against each other one fateful Christmas Eve. I won't tell you the whole thing, but that's just a little bit on the top. Winter Dream. This is another Nutcracker retelling. This one is like got gold edges. It's so pretty. Oh, it's like sparkling. This is, like I said, a Nutcracker retelling. This Christmas Eve, no creature was stirring except maybe a mouse. At long last, can true love break the Nutcracker's curse? Have I showed you guys this one before? I may have. I don't know if I have showed you guys this one before, but I'll show you it again anyways, because I can't remember. My brain I can't remember, but let me take this off and show you. But look how freaking pretty without the dust jacket. Look how pretty this thing is. It's got snowflakes. It's absolutely freaking gorgeous without the dust jacket. Like, I love this. Oh, it's stunning. So even the it came with a note from the author, and it came with a book plate. So it's signed, but it's so freaking pretty. Yes, this one has. Anyways, it's really pretty. Oh, wait. Oh, look. You guys. Look how pretty that is. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I didn't show you guys this. Okay, so some illustrations. I love the Nutcracker, so that's fun. Alright, that's it. I'm done. So next week you'll be getting 2 videos. Next Tuesday you'll be getting my Christmas decorating video. Just a cozy, something cozy. It won't be too long. Cozy Christmas decorating. And then next Friday you'll be getting my November reading wrap up. So how's that? And you'll possibly be getting 2 videos a week more than once in December. I'll let you guys know in advance what to expect each week, because we'll just see how things fall. With Holiday Hell-a-thon, I'll be giving you guys a lot of vlogs. So that's what to expect. Anyhow, I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye for now.